Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm doing another video tonight because last night I was paying homage to Diane Keaton and I failed to pay homage to John Lodge of the Moody Blues. I grew up with the Moody Blues. I'm sure a lot of us grew up with the Moody Blues. I worked their concert tour, half of the leg of the tour in 94 and 95, and it was great. Um, I got a pair of Graham Edge is drumsticks. Got to meet Justin Hayward and John Lodge, Ray Thomas, um, Graham Edge and Patrick Manas and other groups, other members that were in the band. It was great. It was so much fun. I enjoyed it when I was working concert tours back then. Back in 92, 93, 94, 95. Man, I worked so many shows. Paul McCartney, oh my gosh, Widespread Panic, um, Soundgarden, worked uh, Nirvana. I believe it was the Cranberries that opened up for Nirvana when I worked their show. So many shows back then. It was great. Johnny Cash, gosh, so many. And it was just so much fun. So um, I want to send my condolences to Mr. Lodge's family and friends and bandmates, and may he rest in peace. And also last night, I was talking about when I was doing a little short preview with no spoilers on Last Rites, the Ozzy Osbourne book, which was written, I think, up to 2 days before he passed away. So there's a lot in there. But this is the other book that I was talking about. It's called The Wit and Wisdom of Ozzy Osbourne. Funny, a lot of one liners. He says, of all the things I lost, I missed my mind the most. But it's great. Pick this one up too. It's fun. Short read, but it's just fun. Ozzy. He's a great guy. With me tonight, I have some very vintage model kits that I've had. Well, this one came out in 1963. It was one of my brothers. I had mentioned before that my brothers had given me a lot of their stuff, and I've held on to him for years. He's a little worn. That's the Creature of the Black Lagoon. I believe he came out in 62 or 63, along with The Mummy, came out around that time. And The Forgotten Prisoner of Castle Mare, I don't know, maybe 65, 66, maybe. Now, this guy right here is Marv from Sin City. He's in the electric chair. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Pretty crazy, man. And of course, we have Arnold right there. He's a 14-inch. He is made of pure steel, or I don't know what it is, but he's super heavy for a figure that size. But so I'm not going to keep this video too long. I just wanted to get on here. I really felt bad. I was thinking about it all night last night uh, because I forgot to pay my respects to John Lodge. I started talking about Diane Keaton, and then I got onto a tangent about Woody Allen and his films, and and I feel terrible. I failed to mention John Lodge. We've lost so many great stars and musicians this year. It's crazy, and others, Charlie Kirk, um, so many people, so many people. It's crazy times, y'all. It's crazy times. But oh, and look, I don't know if anyone knows what this is. It's Roman candy. This is the chocolate. These are real famous down in New Orleans. Um, they have it's a guy on a horse and carriage. It's kind of like a carriage, but that's where he makes his Roman candy. And I was able to find this at a little place earlier today, and I'm like, wow, they have the Roman candy, and they said it was from the guy that makes it down in New Orleans. So that's cool. It's really good. They have um, chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, and it's like a taffy. It's pretty good. I've been trying to find the Brock's autumn mix. I did find the candy corn, both the chocolate and the yellow, candy corn. Um, but there was, it was, they had another one, and it came with the pumpkins, it came with the candy corn. It also came with an owl. It came with a little cornstalk, a witch, a bat, a cat, and they were all chocolate. The bat, the cat, and the other ones, the witch, they were chocolate, and the other ones were just the oh, what do they call it? Carmelo or whatever it's called, the candy, and it's good. So I found that, and I'm going to order that. But yeah, we're in the Halloween season, as you can see. I got little Drac and little Ghoul, little ghost here, uh, and Mr. Jacko back in the back, Jack o' Lantern. Um, just I wanted to get on here and say hey for a couple of minutes, and you know, um, I'd mentioned the Ozzy book, and I wanted to show you that, uh, and I remember when Nights in White Satin came out. I've loved that song ever since I was a kid. And then when they made, when Tim Burton and Johnny Depp did the Dark Shadows film, which is nothing like the soap opera TV, gothic soap opera TV series that they used to have in the 60s and 70s, early 70s, I believe, 71, 72 is when they wrapped that show. And it started in 66, I believe. And but they in the intro of Dark Shadows, the Tim Burton film, uh, Maggie Evans, when she's on the train, uh, they play Nights in White Satin. It opens up with that. I thought it was such a cool intro. Great song. They picked a great song. That was a good soundtrack. Dark Shadows, the movie, was a good soundtrack. I like Johnny Depp as Barnabas Collins. I think they could have done better um, for Mrs. Stoddard, uh, and a couple of the others. I think they could have done better with Carolyn. David, the kid that played David, I thought was good. Carolyn was good, but Carolyn in the TV series was you know very level-headed, very petite, pretty girl, and I don't know. It just maybe I'm just so used to the TV show and those characters. And what was weird about the Tim Burton film was how Maggie Evans became Victoria Winters, which in the soap opera they were two different people. But it went down okay. I think they could have made it a little more dramatic. And when they're having the party in the movie, uh, and Johnny Depp greets Barnabas, Johnny Depp's character, um, greets these four people at the door, and it's a very quick scene. But those four people are the original Angelique, the original Maggie Evans, the original Barnabas Collins, and Quentin Collins. And I thought that was a cool little surprise. And that's another thing about the movie. I did not like Angelique's part. They Tim Burton could have done so much better with that movie. You know, he still could have put a little humor into it, but made it a little more dramatic because, you know, Dark Shadows was a dramatic gothic style, uh, you know, television show, but he put his own spin on it, and that's cool. You know, Batman, I think, what can I say? I mean, you know, the first two Batmans, Batman and Batman Returns, was, to me, they were a masterpiece, you know, and Sleepy Hollow and, you know, all of them, Edward Scissorhands, and so many of Tim Burton's Corpse's Bride. All of them were so good. I'm a huge fan of Tim Burton and Danny Elfman as well. You know, I love the music in all the films. As a matter of fact, I'll probably be watching Sleepy Hollow tonight. Uh, I got a big list that I of movies that I played during Halloween. So um, my favorite picks, you know, of course, the original Halloween 1 and 2, and uh, The Shining, and, you know, a lot of those, you know, we usually play them. Christine, uh, just so many, you know, during Halloween. Night of the Living Dead, you got to do Night of the Living Dead. You got to do Dracula, the original. You got to do the original Frankenstein. Definitely, without fail, the Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. You know, that's a must. To me, that is a must. Well, An American Werewolf in London is also a must. Every year, that's one film I watch every year around Halloween. Is An American Werewolf in London and Halloween 1 and 2 and The Shining, for the most part. Those are the main ones that, you know, that I play during Halloween. So I'm hoping it's going to be nice and the weather's going to be nice. It's a little chilly where I'm at right now. And heck, I remember when I was living in Colorado in Sheridan, um, went trick or treating and it was snowing out. That was so bizarre. Trick or treating in the snow, you know, bringing the kids and nephews, nieces, and all. Heck, look, I'm not too proud to trick or treat myself. It's kind of funny because, you know, a lot of people that I'm with, when we all go, they're like, "You're trick or treating." I'm like, "Shh, shh, shh." I'll put a costume on and kind of bend down a little, like I'm a little smaller. And when I get to the door, I'm like, "Trick or treat." They probably know I'm an adult and they throw me some candy in anyway. But no, I love Halloween. Uh, Down in New Orleans is an amazing place to be for Halloween. If you have never been to New Orleans during Halloween, you have to do it. I don't know about now, you know, things are so crazy everywhere. Um, you know, I don't know. But at one time, we'd gone there many, many times for Halloween down in the French Quarter. It's great. And another thing, what's weird, many times this has happened in the French Quarter, usually maybe between 10 and 1 in the morning, that fog comes off the Mississippi River and kind of seeps into the French Quarter. And a lot of the, you know, buildings have the old gas lanterns outside, and you know, you have the people roaming around in their costumes, especially on more emptier streets. When you see people in their costumes in the fog, it's so freaking cool, man. New Orleans is a very strange, you know, place when it comes to stuff like that. I hear people all the time talk about vampires in New Orleans. I don't know. I wouldn't say they're vampires like, you know, Dracula, but um, very strange characters there. to say the least, to say the very least. But it's fun and a lot of good places to eat when you're down there. Of course, you know it's known for its cuisine, and there's a lot of great places to go. We used to go to a place called Portugal, and some of the best hamburgers. And it's this old building. You feel like you're in like the bows of an old pirate ship. It's so cool. It was one of my favorite places. And then the Napoleon House, which was a house that was built for Napoleon, but you know he met his Waterloo before he can get to New Orleans. And it's a restaurant and bar, and it's been around since the 1700s, I believe. I believe it was built in 1787 or 1797, and it's been a bar for a long time. And they have, you know, pretty good stuff there, pretty good food. More, uh, you know, sandwiches and light fare, some gumbo and things like that. And there's a sandwich that they make called the muffalata, which they do a really good job. I make them myself, but you know I use all imported ingredients on mine. I'm very picky when it comes to that sandwich, so I'll make my own, and I'll have my olive salad sent from there from the Central Grocery, which is uh, the ones who originated the muffalata sandwich. And the Napoleon House is a really fun place to go when you're down there, if you ever get a chance to go. uh, Actually, in the movie JFK, at the beginning of the movie, and the guy walks in and tells Jim Garrison that John F. Kennedy was shot, he said, "There's a television at Napoleon's, let's go see." And that's the first time there's ever been a TV put in the Napoleon House. They only put a TV in for the filming of that particular scene of JFK. They don't show any sports. They don't have any TV or anything like that in there. And it's always been that way. So when you see that scene with Kevin Costner and they're in that bar restaurant, uh, that's the Napoleon House. And, uh, and right across the street is Maspero's, which was the original slave exchange area where they would do all that. A lot of history, man. A lot of tons of history in New Orleans, man. Tons of history, and it's pretty cool. You know it is. I would definitely say it's a haunted city. I wouldn't disagree. I'll just say that. When I worked on Interview with the Vampire, I had told these people, well, the locations crew, I had told them about a cemetery that was in Lafitte, and it's very hard to find. And I told them about it, and we rode there and looked at it, and they ended up filming a couple of scenes. And it's called Fleming Cemetery, and it's very hard to find now. It's probably almost impossible. I'm sure you could find it, but it's an old shell road. And last time I went there, it was overgrown with trees, and I even found it difficult, kind of hard to find. And once you get in the cemetery, you have all the old graves, and then they're all built on this mound. And at the top of the mound is this old dilapidated wrought iron fence, and that's where Mr. and Mrs. Fleming is buried. And beyond the cemetery, or on the edge of the cemetery, is a bayou. And not to sound creepy, but it's the most beautiful thing you'd see. I mean, you'd almost want to picnic there because it's the cemetery, which looks really, you know, creepy, man. And then you have this big, beautiful bayou. It sits on a big, beautiful bayou, and that's Fleming Cemetery. It's in Lafitte. If anyone that watches this ever plans on going to New Orleans, I would say it's about maybe 40 miles outside of New Orleans, maybe not even that much. I know it's probably about a 35, 40-minute drive, depending on traffic, depending on when you're getting there. Could be an hour, but it's in Lafitte, Louisiana, uh, named after Jean Lafitte. That's another thing. Uh, Years ago, when they were doing the second Pirates of the Caribbean, the second Pirates of the Caribbean was supposed to be filmed in New Orleans, uh, and they were going to film on Bayou Barataria, and I believe that's what that is. By the cemetery is on Bayou Barataria, and uh, and Jean Lafitte, the pirate, was going to be in the movie. You know, his character was going to be in the movie, and I don't know what happened. The politics of New Orleans is kind of crazy sometime, and they wanted to charge these exorbitant prices, to film, and they just said the heck with it, and I think they filmed in Hawaii or somewhere else. So New Orleans lost out on that deal. New Orleans had lost out on many, many films through the years. I'd worked on many films in New Orleans over the years, and there were some that, they were just asking, you know, outrageous rates to film, and, they ended up filming somewhere else. It's a shame. Uh, New Orleans, for one of the reasons I was down there, because it was supposed to be the new Hollywood South, and then they were going to get all these tax incentives, and they ended up backing out on a lot of it. So, and a lot of the studios came down here and built some really big studios, and they left. They went to Atlanta. They went to places, North Carolina. Let's see, they went to Georgia, North Carolina, Vancouver, other places, and filmed. And New Orleans kind of got screwed, but basically they kind of screwed themselves. So that's that. But anyway, I just wanted to get on here and say hey again, and pay homage to John Lodge. And I hope everyone has a good evening and a week ahead.